people spend enormous amounts of time devoting themselves to completely made-up stories. Almost all popular movies, popular books, television shows, they're just made up. I became curious about what it is about fictional narratives, what attracts people. So one aspect about fiction that lots of people speculated about it is this resolution of suspense, that what you want is to not know the outcome, and you read the story to find the outcome. And that's what people are very concerned about spoilers. The huge majority of people think spoilers spoil things, and you just don't in the end have the data from your own life to answer that question. That is, you never see a movie twice for the first time, once spoiled and once not spoiled. And it essentially takes someone stepping back and constructing the proper experiment to discover what it is that people actually like. So what we're curious about is, does giving away the ending ruin the experience? We brought undergraduates into the lab and we gave them short stories from various genres. And for some, we didn't spoil them. We simply said, here's a story, read it, and at the end, you'll tell us how much you liked it. And for others, we spoil it. We spoil it as if inadvertently. We don't want to say, here's a spoiler, because that already suggests that we've spoiled something. So we had them read just a tiny paragraph about the story that it accidentally gave away. In this, the classic story in which the woman murders her husband with a frozen leg of lamb. And so you read it and you don't even realize quite that it's spoiled. But then as you're reading the story, of course, you know exactly what the ending is. And what we found remarkably was if you spoil stories, they actually enjoy them more. Spoilers actually were enhancers. And lots of people, when this finding came out, expressed skepticism, even sometimes hostile skepticism, about it, telling us why we were wrong in all sorts of ways. But really, if you think about it, people when they go to see Romeo and Juliet don't think, don't tell me how it ends. That is, almost everyone going to see Romeo and Juliet knows that Romeo will die and Juliet will die as a tragedy. In fact, the prologue to the play largely tells you this. And also, as I point out to skeptics, people watch these movies more than once happily and often with increasing pleasure. So even a movie like The Usual Suspects, where you think that one movie will be ruined if you know the ending. And I ask people, so the second time you watched it, did you like it? Oh, I loved it the second time, right? Every time I watch it, I like it more. You think but you know exactly what the ending is. The point is really, we're not watching these things for the ending. If that were the point, you could save yourself a lot of time, right? You would just say it was the butler. You're like, wow, thanks, right? I don't have to read the novel. Really, you read fiction for the beauty of the prose and the cleverness of the construction and insights into human nature. And maybe even knowing the ending is useful because it allows you to focus on these other parts. The same way if you're driving up Highway 1 through Big Sur, if you know the road really well, you can now peek around and admire the view and the otters frolicking in the surf. Whereas if you don't know what the road is, you have to be focusing on that sort of mundane detail. The argument isn't that stories shouldn't have plots, and in fact we tried a version where we put the spoiler into the story. So we actually modified these stories. A little bit of hubris going and fixing what John Updike wrote. And it turns out we didn't make them better. So if you write a first paragraph as if it's part of the story that gives away the plot, people don't like the story more. What they really want is to have the story complete, but then this extra knowledge about it. And there's lots of evidence that sort of this fluent processing of information is pleasurable. That is, some familiarity with a work of art enables you to enjoy it more.
So what do you think? Do you like reading spoilers? Let us know in the comments below. And be sure to click that subscribe button.